Wednesday, July 1st. Well, the headlines this morning are talking about this intelligence reports that suggest that the Russian um, money managers in Afghanistan have been offering to the Taliban money as a kind of bounty on the heads of our troops that are serving there. Now, we don't know whether this is actually true, but there is some pretty good intelligence, and it's been bouncing around for over a year now, some evidence of this. Not only the reports of the Taliban fighters that we've had a chance to interview, but also money that's been found and money that's been transferred, and there's something going on. And this is the story that seems to make it make sense. And it's something that our national intelligence community has been aware of for some time, and which reportedly President Trump was briefed on even back into February. Only just kind of made it to the light of day in the news. This has me wondering, how will those folks who are such die-hard Trump supporters, how are they going to relate to this news? Because most the Trump folks that I know and know of are really quite ardent patriots. And the idea of something putting our troops at risk is not going to set well with those folks. So there's a kind of dissonance that's going to arise, or must be arising for them, between the notion that Trump, who is doing all of these wonderful things to make America great again, is ignoring, isn't aware of, isn't responding to things that put our troops at risk when they're in the field serving us to protect our freedoms. This dissonance between, but this is true, but this is true, that cognitive dissonance is something that arises for us. It's pretty much everybody has it around some kinds of issues, because the cognitive maps that we form may not match what's actually arising in our experience. In order for us to function in the world, we each have to have ways of looking at the world that are going to make sense to us. So we form these paradigms, these myths, these explanations. Here's the way things really are. And a cognitive map is a really useful thing to have. These maps, like any kind of map, it helps me, first of all, know where I am. I look at the map and I say, oh, here I am. Here's where I am. I can see where I am on the map. The map also tells me where I might be, or what is going on outside of my sight. Beyond my sight, there's something happening. What's that? And the third thing is it tells me what it is that I can do that will move me from where I am to where I need to be. So to be able to have good cognitive maps really helps me function in my life in such a way that I'm actually going to be able to create what I need. From time to time, we will discover that the cognitive map that we're using doesn't match reality. And so we have to alter the map in order to have it better reflect what's really going on. Except when we don't. Sometimes, even though we know that the maps that we're using are not actually accurate, we will cling to the old map. We'll cling to this. This is a map. This is a dear map to me. This is a map I've had all of my life. This is what my parents told me was true. This is what my community around me supports. So I'm going to cling to this map, even as I know that it doesn't match reality. This is called a cognitive distortion. And it's something that arises for us because we become more attached to the map than we do to reality, usually for issues related to some kind of trauma that has happened in our experience. So the question that arises for me now is, how is it that the Trump's ardent supporters are going to make sense of this? This is going to be a great source of cognitive dissonance for them. They're going to have to struggle to figure this one out. Just as we each do, as we discover that the way the world really is not the way I imagine it to be, the way I want it to be, the way my parents told me it was, the way my church told me it was. Are we, in fact, willing to live in the world as it really is, rather than in the world as we think it ought to be? It's a tough one for us, folks. Hang in there. Have a good day.